Hi and good morning, Doctor. So today our group will be presenting on a comparative analysis in semantic prosody of word occur and happen through collocational pattern.
Hello everyone, our group will be presenting our study titled Comparative Analysis in Semantic Prosody of Occur and Happen Through Collocational Patterns. In specialized disciplines like chemical engineering, language is not only about technical terms, it also involves common words, particularly verbs, and that take on specialized meaning through repeated contextual use. And words like occur and happen are often assumed to be synonymous in English, since both refer to events taking place. And however, when these verbs appear in professional discourse, especially in journal articles, they may carry subtle differences in connotation, and these connotative meanings are influenced by what's known as semantic prosody. And semantic prosody is a key concept in corpus linguistics. It refers to a predictable evaluative tone, whether positive, negative, or neutral, and that arises from a word's frequent lexical and grammatical companions, also known as collocations. The effect is usually subconscious, even if the dictionary meaning remains the same. The words surrounding a term can subtly color its interpretation. Our study is therefore situated in this context. We aim to conduct a comparative analysis of semantic prosody of occur and happen by studying their connotational patterns within a specialized corpus of chemical engineering journal using and conc software. In general English usage, occur tends to be formal, neutral, and impersonal. It typically combines with words describing planned events, natural phenomena, or scientific ideas. Even when it describes negative events, it carries a detached tone. Happy by contrast, often suggests something unexpected, accidental, or unfortunate. It co-occurs with words like accident, suddenly, or unexpectedly, invoking surprise or powerlessness. So, to address this, we developed two central research questions. What collocations of the nodes occur and happen in chemical engineering journals are reviewed through analysis using END-CONC. And the second one is how does the semantic prosody of occur and happen differ based on their connotational patterns within the context of chemical engineering journal? And to answer this, our research objectives are to examine the connotations of occur and happen in chemical engineering journals, exploring, employing, and conc software for uh, rigorous corpus-driven identification and statis- statistical analysis of significant connotates. The second one is to compare the semantic prosody of what can happen in the context of chemical engineering journals, interpreting the connotational patterns identified in Objective 1 to determine the predominant evaluative connotations associated with each verb within this specialized discourse. Our working hypothesis is that the semantic prosody of these verbs in chemical engineering differs from their general usage. In particular, we believe occur and happen may behave differently in this technical context.
Okay, so we will look at literature review. We will start with the concept of semantic prosody, which is the main theoretical foundation in the study. According to Halston, 2007, semantic prosody refers to what she called an evaluative halo, which is a subtle emotional tone or bias that words can carry based on the words they often appear with. or they often be a partner with. For example, the word cause may seem neutral if you look at the dictionary, but when we see it used in the phrases such as cause a problem or cause a disease, it started to sound negative. This matter because our study we look at words occur and happen, and these words are often treated as synonym, especially in general English. But when we use in specific register like scientific writing, their connotation can shift. So our goal is to see if these words still carry their usual prosody, or if the technical context will neutralize occur and happen. Next, we will look at how collocation affects tone in scientific writing. Zio and McNary 2006 point out that even though scientific language tries to be neutral, collocational patterns still influence meaning. In their study, words like result, consequences, and aftermath were analyzed. That shows all of them relate to outcome, but aftermath, for instance, tends to sound more negative. That shows us that even in formal and objective text, the emotional weight of words can still exist. So in short, this background shows that context and frequent pairings matter, and they can subtly affect how words like occur and happen are interpreted. Okay, now let's move on to how previous study supports our approach, especially in using corpus tool like NCON. One of the most relevant studies here is by Fokarancil 2021. He analyzed two words, which is persist and persevere, which basically means to keep going. But what he found is that persist often appear in negative contexts like errors or problems, while persevere showed up in more positive motivational situation. This is a good example of how two similar words can carry different prosodies based on their collocates. This study supports our research method because we are going doing similar things similar with occur and happen, and we were trying to see whether their meaning changes depending on the technical collocation they appear with. Another useful perspective comes from Hauser and Schwartz, 2023. They focus more on the cognitive side, how people react to words based on their collocational history. Their participants were asked to judge words like cause and produce, and even though both are technically neutral, people rated cause as more negative. That tell us semantic prosody doesn't just live on the page, it affects how reader first and interpret information, even in formal or scientific text. So overall, these studies show that semantic prosody is real, it is measurable, and it matters. Our study fits into this body of research by applying these same principles to a word occur and happen in the specific context of chemical engineering writing.
For the methodology of the study, we used the software NCON, a corpus analysis software, for the sole reason that it has the keyword in context tool, or the keyword tool in Windows. Since we're using MacBook, so it's called a quick tool, KWIC, keyword in context. That's one of the tools that is offered in quite the newer version of the NCON software, and it allows for users or researchers of corpus-based studies to search for specific words or phrases, and to set between the search word will be the node word, and then to set between how long of a context in the concordance lines that we want, maybe 10 words to the left and 10 words to the right, or more than that even. And because of the tool offering the concordance display, or the concordance lines that you will have based on the hits in the tool, this helps us to understand the context of the word being used in context, the collocates that it has in the left and the right position of the word, or the node word. And the concordance lines are really helpful because it shows one column of the node words, especially if we sort it according to frequency, and then when we see it, the context or the collocates that it is used with, then we can see the semantic preference of the words, whether they are nouns of chemical processes in this instance, And then in turn we will see the semantic prosody, the nature or the connotation of the processes that the word has, the collocates have. Then the keyword search allows us to target multiple words. For example, occur and happen, target it as a singular word, which is very nice. And also the sort function, where we can sort whether in this case we use 2L, 2 words to the left, 1 word to the right, in a 10-word left and right context, to make sure that we get the whole sentence right, to get the prosody right ultimately. And then because we are having we studied a comparative analysis way of between occur and happen, which is normally a synonymous word in general context or in general English language. Out of context, these words might be synonymous, but when we clone 2 windows together side by side, we can see the difference between the semantic prosody of occur and happen, these 2 node words. When we run our data, the corpus journals, especially we took the chemical engineering journals for us to test our hypothesis on the field, on the use of occur and happen, especially in context of the chemical engineering field as a field. So for us to generalize it to a population, we took about 300 journals of chemical engineering in that field, and then we run it using the quick tool, the KWIC tool, or the keyword tool in NCOM. The findings are quite astounding because it goes against our initial hypothesis, which is because of these node words that we had, which is occur and happen, to be synonymous. So we thought that the semantic prosody will be similar even in the field of chemical engineering. But the findings would later demonstrate the importance or the factor of register, especially in the use of these 2 words. In general, or in language used colloquially or even standard language, without the factor of register, the occur can be used as both as a collocate to a neutral instance, a neutral occurrence, you would say, and also a negative occurrence. You can say accidents happen and the accident occurred somewhere, or the robbery occurred, the robbery happened somewhere. But the findings shows something very different, which is a big part thanks to corpus-based analysis. So with the node word occur, when we see the concordance lines, it proves that the hypothesis that we had of occur is quite similar, because it shows neutrality in the use of the words, especially when we see the collocates surrounding it. Occur, shockingly, not quite shockingly, because of the analysis, it is found that it is not used with negative connotation. Hence, we can conclude that the semantic prosody is not negative at all. It is always neutral. A chemical process, a bonding reaction, or a reaction can occur in the field of chemical engineering, and it also can happen. But to be compared with the node word happen, the concordance lines show the use of happen to also have the semantic prosody of negative reactions or negative occurrences of some things. For example, the concordance lines, especially the top 3 concordance lines, which hits the most frequency using the software, it shows that a path is more likely to happen. That is the most frequent hit for us to analyze because of our analysis. And then we have dissolvent processes are more likely to happen. But interestingly, the top third hit in frequency of happen is accidents are most likely to happen. accidents are more likely to happen. The word accident here, the noun, the semantic preference of using happen with the colloquial accident is very interesting because it is against our hypothesis that said happen has to be are normally used with neutral and negative, but because of the pattern that occur has, we hypothesize that we still stick to the hypothesis that happen has a semantic prosody of neutrality, especially in the chemical engineering field. And this shows that register within the field, because of the register, it shows that the semantic prosody is different even with synonymous words, which is astounding because of the use of software tools like NCOM.
This study has yielded significant findings. To begin with, we found that occur appeared with a markedly higher frequency than happen. It emerged as the preferred verb for describing events and processes in chemical engineering journals. Its most common connotates include terms like reaction, absorption, aggregation, and processes. And these are neutral system phenomena. As such, the semantic prosody of occur in this technical context is clearly neutral, shaped from its more mixed prosody in general English, which can sometimes include negative associations. So on the other hand, happen shows a narrower and more specific application in the corpus. It was often used in association with negative outcomes, for instance, and collocating with phrases like explosion, accident, failures, or profile issues and unexpected results. This indicates that even in the specialized objective register for chemical engineering, Happen retains its neutral negative semantic prosody from everyday language. The semantic prosody of a word may shift or remain constant depending on the type of discourse. In this case, the neutral tone of occur is reinforced by the scientific context, while happen continues to carry negative connotations even in academic texts. Our finding confirmed that an original hypothesis, the semantic prosody of occur in chemical engineering differs from that in general usage, becoming more neutral and process-based. Meanwhile, happen remains constant with its general usage and is reserved for unexpected or undesirable outcomes. In closing, and this study contributes to a growing body of knowledge in corpus-based language analysis, and it strengthens the argument that semantic prosody must be taken seriously in the teaching and writing of technical English. A deeper awareness of such patterns can enhance both scientific clarity and linguistic precision. Thank you.